Hold on, let me get started here myself. Oh, okay, let's see. Here we go. All right. We're going to start out this program tonight. We're now recording. So we're going to start out this program as we always do with our pranams to the spiritual master. If you know them, chant along. If not, no worries. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravari Paracharane Nirvishesha Srinyavari Paschat Diresh Tarane Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaudavaktivrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, so this is chapter 61 in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this is the story titled Lord Balaram Slays Rukmi. Now, a moment ago, we were discussing how we got here. Because this is Krishna's wife's brother that Krishna's brother is getting ready to kill. So this seems pretty extreme, doesn't it? And it is. So when Lord Krishna came to take Rukmini away, he married her in what's called the Rakshasa style. In other words, he came and kidnapped her from her wedding ceremony, literally. And in a very chivalrous way, took her away to his palace. Well, on the way, they were confronted by her brother, Rukmi, who was also a prince, and all the other kings that had been assembled there who were seeking the hand of the lovely Rukmini. Now, she was betrothed to Shishupal. Shishupal was who she was supposed to marry, but Krishna robbed her away and took her. So the armies all came after him, Jarasandha and all of them. Finally, they were defeated and turned back. So Krishna takes Rukmini to the palace, and now they've had pastimes together. In the last chapter, he was teasing Rukmini, and she took it seriously, began to cry, and then actually fainted away. And Krishna brought her back in this most wonderful pastime between the Lord and his devotee. So you'd have to read that one again or go back. You can find that one on YouTube, right, Ranga? Okay. So anyway, under Gayatri Dasa, we'd be glad if you come and listen anytime. So we're going to, as usual, we're going to read two chapters. Not a lot of philosophical discussion in these two chapters necessarily, but they're great adventure stories. And, I want to start out by reciting a poem that I wrote, okay? And this is a poem. It's called Monsoon Rain is the name of the poem. And I wrote this some years ago, and it's to a beautiful melody. It's actually a song we sang not too long ago. I think Ranga was there. We were singing with Dharma Sita. But the way it goes is great. We're talking about the stories of the Lord, right? Great adventures, great stories, great pastimes of these personalities in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the beautiful story of the person God. Who is the person God? What did he do? When did he do it? How did he do it? Who did he do it with? And what was the outcome of the activity? So this is the discussion that we've been having now for months and years, actually. And it's always ever fresh and ever new. And the glory of it is that simply by hearing it, one becomes purified within their heart of hearts, and mountains of sinful karmic reaction that would have accrued are now dissipated and turned to ash. So this is a very beautiful thing. This is guaranteed throughout the Srimad Bhagavatam. As we read these different chapters, you'll see that at the end of the chapters, in many cases, it says that anyone who reads this story at a certain time or whatever, in the morning or anyone who reads it is relieved of their previous lives' sinful reactions. So this is very important that we neutralize our karmic burdens and our loads. And one way to do it is through this recitation of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we plan to continue. So in that pursuit, I wrote a song called Monsoon Rain. As you know, Krishna is the color of the monsoon rain, right? He's darkish complexion. So if I can remember it, here it goes. Great stories of your fame, your form, your holy name. They wash us clean like the rain, like the monsoon rain. You're like a blackish cloud. You're pouring grace all around to wash away our sins and make us new again. And so we serve you now, and to your feet we bow. Send your mercy like the rain, just like the monsoon rain. So this is the stories that we're reading. We're asking Krishna to send his mercy like the monsoon rain upon us and wash us clean. And so we sing those verses again and again, and then we recite the Maha Mantra in the kirtan. And so at some point, we'll do that again. We used to do that on this program. We used to have a short kirtan at first. You remember that, Ron? A long time ago. We quit doing kirtan because it couldn't be heard very well. And we don't know why or how, but we tried to put on the musicians thing, but it still didn't come through. So we gave that up and just went straight to the story. So these are two great adventure stories, and I'll start out. I'll read 10 or 15 of the verses, and then if you don't mind, please chime in and read the next one. So text 1, Sukadeva Goswami said, each of Lord Krishna's wives gave birth to 10 sons who were not less than their father, having all his personal opulences. Because each of these princes or princesses saw that Lord Achyuta never left her palace, each thought herself the Lord's favorite. These women did not understand the full truth about him. Supreme Lord's wives were fully enchanted by his lovely lotus-like face, his long arms, and his large eyes, his loving glances imbued with laughter, and his charming talks with them. But with all their charms, these ladies could not conquer the mind of the all-powerful Lord. The arched eyebrows of these 16,000 queens enchantingly expressed those ladies' secret intentions through coyly smiling, sidelong glances. Thus their eyebrows boldly set forth conjugal messages. Yet even with these arrows of Cupid, and with other means as well, they could not agitate Lord Krishna's senses. Thus these women obtained as their husband the master of the goddess of fortune, although even great demigods like Brahma do not know how to approach him. With ever-increasing pleasure, they felt loving attraction for him, exchanged smiling glances with him, eagerly anticipated associating with him in ever-fresh intimacy, and enjoyed in many other ways. Although the Supreme Lord's queens each had hundreds of maidservants, they chose to personally serve the Lord by approaching him humbly, offering him a seat, worshiping him with excellent paraphernalia, bathing and massaging his feet, giving him pan to chew, fanning him, anointing him with fragrant sandalwood paste, adorning him with flower garlands, dressing his hair, arranging his bed, bathing him, and presenting him with various gifts. Among Lord Krishna's wives, each of whom had 10 sons, I previously mentioned 8 principal queens. I shall now recite for you the names of those 8 queen sons headed by Pradyumna. So this is a very long list of names, and if you want, I'll just read through them as correctly, as accurately as I can. The first son of Queen Rukmini was Pradyumna, who also born of her were Charudeshna, Sudeshna, and the powerful Charudeha, along with Sucharu, Charugupta, Bhadracharu, Charuchandra, Vicharu, and Charu the 10th. None of these sons of Lord Hari was less than his father. The 10 sons of Satyabhama were Bhanu, Subhanu, Svarbhanu, Prabhanu, Bhanuman, Chandrabhanu, Bhadrabhanu, Atibhanu, the 8th, Shribhanu, and Pratibhanu, Samba, Sumitra, Purujit, Satyajit, Sahasrajit, Vijaya, Chitraketu, Vasuman, Dravida, and Kratu were the sons of Jambavati. These 10, headed by Samba, were their father's favorites. The sons of Jiti were Vira, Chandra, Ashvasena, Chitragu, Vegavan, Vrisa, Ama, Sanku, Vasu, and the opulent Kunti. Shruta, Kavi, Vrisa, Vira, Subahu, Bhadra, Santi, Darsa, and Purumasa were the sons of Kalindi. Her youngest son was Somaka. Madra's sons were Pragosh, Gatravan, Simha, Bala, Prabala, Udraga, Mahashakti, Saha, Oja, and Aparajita. Mitravinda's sons were Vrika, Harsa, Anila, Gridra, Vardhana, Unanda, Mahasma, Pavana, Vahani, and Kshudhi. Sangar Majit, Brihast, Sena, Sura, Praharana, Arajit, Jaya, and Subhadra were the sons of Bhadra, together with Vama, Ayur, and Satyaka. Wow. I'll read this last one and then I'll turn it over. Diptiman, Tamratapta, and others were the sons of Lord Krishna and Rohini. Lord Krishna's son Pradyumna fathered the greatly powerful Aniruddha in the womb of Rukmavati, the daughter of Rukmi. O king, this took place while they were living in the city of Bojakata. So there you go, guys. I tried to do that one as good as I could for you. A lot of children in that lineage. So now we're on text 19. No, yep, 19. So who would like to pick up? Please start reading. Text 19.
My dear king, the sons and grandsons of Lord Krishna's children numbered in the tens of millions. 16,000 mothers gave rise to this dynasty. King Parikshit said, how could Rukmini give his daughter to his enemy son? After all, Rukmini had been defeated by Lord Krishna in battle and was waiting for an opportunity to kill him. Please explain this to me, O learned one, how these two inimical parties became united through marriage. Mystic yogis can perfectly see that which has not yet happened, as well as things in the past or present, beyond the senses, remote or blocked by physical obstacles. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, at her Swayamvara ceremony, Rukmavati herself chose Pradyumna, who was the re-embodiment of Cupid. Then, although he fought alone in a single chariot, Pradyumna defeated the assembled kings in battle and took her away. Though Rukmini always remembered his enmity towards Lord Krishna, who had insulted him in order to please his sister, he sanctioned his daughter's marriage to his nephew. O king, Bali, the son of Kritavarma, married Rukmini's young daughter, large-eyed, Charumati. Rukmini gave his granddaughter, Rochana, to his daughter's son, Aniruddha, despite Rukmini's relentless feud with Lord Hari. Although Rukmini considered this marriage irreligious, he wanted to please his sister, bound as he was by the ropes of affection. Hold on. Bound affection. Okay. On the joyous occasion of that marriage, O king, Queen Rukmini, Lord Balarama, Lord Krishna, and several of the Lord's sons, headed by Samba and Pradyuma, Pradyumna, went to the city of Bojakata. After the wedding, a group of arrogant kings headed by the king of Kalinga told Rukmini, "You should defeat Balaram at dice. He's not expert at dice." "Oh, king, but he still is quite addicted to it." Thus advised, Rukmini challenged Balaram and began a gambling match with him. In that match, Lord Balaram first accepted a wager of 100 coins, then 1,000, then 10,000. Rukmini won the first round, and the king of Kalingi laughed loudly at Lord Balaram, showing all his teeth. Lord Balaram could not tolerate this. Next, Rukmini accepted a bet of 100,000 coins. Next, Rukmini accepted a bet of 100,000 coins, which Lord Balaram won. But Rukmini tried to cheat him, declaring, "I'm the winner." Shaking with anger, like the ocean on the full moon day, handsome Lord Balaram, his naturally reddish, even redder in his fury, accepted a wager of 100 million gold coins. Lord Balaram fairly won this wager also. But Rukmini again resorted to cheating and declared, "I have won. Let these witnesses here say what they saw." Just then, a voice from the sky declared, "Balarama has fairly won this wager. Rukmini is surely lying." Urged on by the wicked kings, Rukmini ignored the divine voice. In fact, destiny itself was urging Rukmini on, and thus he ridiculed Lord Balaram as follows. Rukmini said, "You cowherds who wander about the forest know nothing about dice. Playing with dice and sporting with arrows are only for kings, not for the likes of you." Thus insulted by Rukmini and ridiculed by the kings, Lord Balaram was provoked to anger. In the midst of this auspicious wedding assembly, he raised his club and struck Rukmini dead. The king, Rukmini.
No, Rukmi, her brother.
Oh, Rukmi, excuse me.
I want to be clear on that.
And struck Rukmi dead. I apologize.
No, that's right.
The king of Kalinga, who had laughed at Lord Balaram and showed his teeth, tried to run away, but the furious Lord quickly seized him on his 10th step and knocked out all his teeth. Tormented by Lord Balaram's club, the other kings fled in fear, their arms, thighs, and heads broken and their bodies drenched in blood. When his brother-in-law Rukmi was slain, Lord Krishna neither applauded nor protested. "O king," for he feared jeopardizing his affectionate ties with either Rukmini or Balarama. Then the descendants of Dashara, headed by Lord Balaram, seated Aniruddha and his bride on a fine chariot and set off from Bojakata for Dwaraka. Having taken shelter of Lord Madhusudana, they had fulfilled all their purposes. That's the end of that chapter.
Okay. And who wants to start in the next verses?
You want me to start? Then maybe if I read a few, then maybe Vamsi can read after me.
Yeah, please.
Right. Okay, the meeting of Usha and Aniruddha, chapter 62, verse text 1. King Parikshit said, "The best of the Yadus married Banasura's daughter Usha, and as a result, a great fearsome battle occurred between Lord Hari and Lord Shankara. Please explain everything about this incident, O most powerful of mystics." Sukadev Goswami said, Bana was the oldest of the 100 sons fathered by the great saint Bali Maharaj, who gave the whole earth in charity to Lord Hari when he appeared as Vamanadev. Banasura, born from Bali's semen, became a great devotee of Lord Shiva. His behavior was always respectable, and he was generous, intelligent, truthful, and firm in his vows. The beautiful city of Shonitapura was under his domain. Because Lord Shiva had favored him, the very demigods waited on Banasura like menial servants. Once, when Shiva was dancing his Tandava Nitya, Bana especially satisfied the Lord by playing a musical accompaniment with his 1,000 arms. The Lord and Master of all created beings, the compassionate refuge of his devotees, gladdened Banasura by offering him the benediction of his choice. Bana chose to have him, Lord Shiva, as the guardian of his city. Banasura was intoxicated with his strength. One day, when Lord Shiva was standing beside him, Banasura touched the Lord's lotus feet with his helmet, which shone like the sun, and spoke to him as follows. Banasura said, O Lord Mahadev, I bow down to you, the spiritual master and controller of the worlds. You are like the heavenly tree that fulfills the desires of those whose desires are unfulfilled. These 1,000 alms you bestowed upon me have become merely a heavy burden. Besides you, I find no one in the 3 worlds worthy to fight. Eager to fight with the elephants who rule the directions, O primeval Lord, I went forth pulverizing, great word, pulverizing mountains with my arms, which were itching for battle. But even those great elephants fled in fear. Hearing this, Lord Shiva became angry and replied, Your flag will be broken, fool, when you have done battle with one who is my equal. That fight will vanquish your conceit. Thus advised, unintelligent, Banasura was delighted. The fool then went home, O king, to wait for that which Lord Girisha had predicted, the destruction of his prowess. In a dream, Bana's daughter, the maiden Usha, had an amorous encounter with the son of Pradumna, though she had never before seen or heard of her lover. Losing sight of him in her dream, Usha suddenly sat up in the midst of her girlfriends, crying out, Where are you, my lover? She was greatly disturbed and embarrassed. Banasura had a minister named Kumbanda, whose daughter was Chitraleka, a companion of Usha's. She was filled with curiosity, and thus she inquired from her friend. Chitraleka said, Who are you searching for, O fine-browed one? What is this hankering you're feeling? Until now, O princess, I haven't seen any man take your hand in marriage. Usha said, In my dream, I saw a certain man who had a dark blue complexion, lotus eyes, yellow garments, and mighty arms. He was the kind who touches women's hearts. It is that lover I search for. After making me drink the honey of his lips, he has gone elsewhere, and thus he has thrown me, hankering fervently for him, into the ocean of distress. Chitraleka said, I will remove your distress. If he is to be found anywhere in the 3 worlds, I will bring this future husband of yours who has stolen your heart. Please show me who he is. Saying this, Chitraleka proceeded to draw accurate pictures of various demigods, Gandharvas, Siddhas, Charanas, Panagas, Daityas, Vidyadharas, Yaksas, and humans. O king, among the humans, Chitraleka drew pictures of the Vishnus, including Surasena, Anaka
Nakadandubi.
yeah, Anaka Dundubi, Balaram, and Krishna. When Usha saw the picture of Pradyumna, she became bashful. And when she saw Aniruddha's picture, she bent her head down in embarrassment. Smiling, she exclaimed, "Here's the one! It's him!" Okay. Shall I stop there? Because there's only a few left, and so
Let's
maybe
bouncy read a little bit. That was very good. Anakandandubi. Anakandandubi. What a nice name. All right, Vamsi, you got to unmute there, buddy.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Text 20.
Yeah.
Chitralekha, endowed with mystic powers, recognized him as Krishna's grandson, Aniruddha. My dear king, she then traveled by the mystic skyway to Dwaraka, the city under Lord Krishna's protection. There she found Pradyumna's son Aniruddha sleeping upon a fine bed. With her yogic power, she took him away to Shonitapur, where she presented her girlfriend Usha with her beloved. When Usha beheld him, the most beautiful of men, her face lit up with joy. She took the son of Pradyumna to her private quarters, which men were forbidden even to see, and there enjoyed with him. Usha worshipped Aniruddha with faithful service, offering him priceless garments along with garlands, fragrances, incense, lamps, sitting places, and so on. She also offered him beverages, all types of food, and sweet words. As he thus remained hidden in the young lady's quarters, Aniruddha did not notice the passing of the days, for his senses were captivated by Usha, whose affection for him ever increased. Text 25-26. The female gods eventually notice unmistakably symptoms of romantic involvement in Usha, who, having broken her maiden vow, was being enjoyed by the Yadu hero and showing signs of conjugal happiness. The gods went to Banasura and told him, "O king, we have detected in your daughter the kind of improper behavior that spoils the reputation of a young girl's family. We have been carefully watching over her, never leaving out posts, O master, so we cannot understand how this maiden, whom no man can ever even see, has been corrupted within the palace." Very agitated to hear of his daughter's corruption, Banasura rushed at once to the maiden's quarters. There he saw the pride of the Yadus, Aniruddha. Text 29-30. Banasura saw before him Cupid's own son, possessed of unrivaled beauty, with dark blue complexion, yellow garments, lotus eyes, and formidable arms. His face were adorned with effulgent earrings and hair, and also with smiling glances. As he sat opposite his most auspicious lover, playing with her at dice, there hung between his arms a garment of spring jasmines, which had been smeared with kumkuma powder from her breast when he had embraced her. Banasura was astonished to see all this. Seeing Banasura enter with many armed guards, Aniruddha raised his iron club and stood resolute, ready to strike anyone who attacked him. He resembled death personified, holding his rod of punishment. As the guards converged on him from all sides, trying to capture him, Aniruddha struck them just as the leader of a pack of boars strikes back at dogs. Hit by his blows, The guards fled the palace, running for their lives with shattered heads, thighs, and arms. But even as Aniruddha was striking down the army of Bana, that powerful son of Bali angrily caught him with the mystic Nagapasha ropes. When Usha heard of Aniruddha's capture, she was overwhelmed with grief and depression. Her eyes filled with tears, and she wept.
Ah.
Well, is that some adventure for your Wednesday night, guys? I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
that's a heck of a church service, wouldn't you say? Yeah, well, Krishna, he demonstrated and portrayed all these activities, and his children, his sons, they did these things. And these are great stories of great personalities in the Srimad Bhagavatam that we study, because by studying their lives, we become purified and we become self-realized. And we learn our own position and our own relationship with Krishna. So some great stories here right now. And I'm wondering, is there any questions or comments on any of these stories? Or shall we just start recapping and then you just chime in when you want? How do
I
you
was
want to?
wondering, it might be a stupid question. Why are we only hearing of Krishna's sons and then Krishna's grandsons? Surely he had daughters as well, didn't he? Or was it all sons?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. Do you, Vamsi?
I've heard that the Lord had 10 sons with each of his queens, all the 16,108 as we read, but he also had one daughter with every wife. But I haven't read it, I've just heard about it. So I don't know authoritatively.
Ranga, please go ahead and scour the database for answers, if you don't mind, while we're studying. That's an excellent question. Thank you for that. From a lady's perspective, we can find out. So that's very nice. Yeah, well, we just read he had 10 sons with each wife, so we know that. But it didn't mention his daughters, did it? Not in this chapter. I didn't see that. Now we could go back and look in the purport there and see if there's anything. But so the interesting thing about Krishna having all these wives, really, he says it lists all of his sons, grandsons, and other progeny. So it does list his other progeny, but I didn't see any wives there. So now there's a daughter, though, right? The daughter of Rukmini. What was her name? Remember? Bata or something like that. What was that? You remember that one? We'd have to go through this to find that particular text that talked about her. But well, let me just continue on. If we find that passage, just bring it up. So it says, because Krishna constantly remained in these palaces, each wife actually became pretty puffed up. They thought they were the only, or they must be the favorite wife of the Lord, because he was doting on them at all times, right? Taking care of them. So it says here that having attained as their husband Lord Krishna, whom even the demigods like Brahma find it difficult to know in truth, the Lord's queens were always very eager to associate with him. And thus, even though they had plenty of maidservants, they didn't really care. Their whole situations, what they wanted to personally serve the Lord in menial service, is what it says. In menial service. That means I want to give you a bath, I want to wash your hair, I want to dress your hair, I want to, make your bed. I want to do all those, massage your feet, anything that you need, they wanted to do, that normally maidservants would take care of. So, yeah, Rukmavati, Rukmini's daughter, Rukmavati, right?
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah,
There's
just found it.
the daughter that was mentioned, Rangavati, for you.
It's in text 22.
That's
Oh, it was
Rukmi.
Rukmi's daughter. I'm sorry, Rukmi's daughter, not. Yeah, it was Rukmi's daughter. which is Rukmini's brother. I'm sorry. Didn't have anything to do with Krishna. I misquoted that. So, well, anyway, so as we go through this story, we see that at the wedding of Aniruddha's wedding, Lord Baladev, Sri Krishna, and all the Yadavas went there to the city of Bojakata. And after the ceremony, Rukmi was being kind of a smart aleck, right? And so he challenged Lord Baladev to a game of dice. He knew that he was kind of addicted to playing dice, actually, it said. Remember? That he enjoyed that game. You got something, Vamsi? You remember them saying that?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. I just found the reference to the daughter's name. It's 10/61/24. It says the name is Charumati,
Yeah.
Rukmini's young daughter. He married Krita Varma.
Okay, very good. So there is some references there for you, Rangi. All right, very good. Thank you for that. Anything else you guys want to interrupt or bring to the table, please do while we're just kind of covering over this kind of casually.
Yeah.
But anyway, at the wedding ceremony, they challenged Baladev to a game of dice, and of course he fell for it. And originally, they had this. You could see that these numbers were going up. Okay, it was like 100 coins, and it was 1,000 coins, and it was 10,000 coins. Then it was 1,000,000 coins, and 10 million, and 100 million coins. Now Baladev began winning. He was cheated in the beginning, but what did Rukmi do? He tried to call attention to the public who was there, and he said, "Everyone here saw what you've done. Let them speak." In other words, he accused Baladev of cheating while smiling through his teeth, and so did all these other persons who were the wicked kings who were also there. So Baladev angrily, he couldn't take it. So he grabbed his club and he struck Rukmi dead right there on the spot. Bam, dead, gone, history. Now, we want to know in this incident, neither Krishna said anything, right, to Baladev or to Rukmini. He didn't want to get in trouble with either side. He had some relation. So that might be a story that you might want to look into further in your own lives, because sometimes you're in that spot. You don't want to offend this person, you don't want to offend that person, right? So you got to be sometimes just silent, and let the situation play out. And that's what Krishna did. He very intelligently did, by the way. Okay. So, but Baladev couldn't take it. So then the king of Kalinga, who had smiled laughingly and mockingly at Lord Baladev, once he saw Rukmi struck dead, like a coward that he was, he began to flee. But Lord Baladev seized him and knocked out all of his teeth. Wow. Now, the other offensive kings with their heads all wounded and beat up due to Baladev's blows, they all fled in all directions, and they're bleeding all over the place. Okay, they're leaving like a trail of blood behind. And Krishna, he didn't express approval or disapproval in his brother-in-law's death, fearing that he would jeopardize loving ties with either Rukmini or Baladev. So this was a pretty cool story. And then Baladev, along with the other Yadavas, then seated Aniruddha and his bride on a fine chariot, and they all went off to Dwarka. So that basically is where the next chapter starts. And there was a long recitation of all these names of these sons of, that we went through. I tried to pronounce them all correctly. I hope I did okay. So it says, "My dear king, the sons and grandsons of Lord Krishna's children numbered in the tens of millions. 16,000 mothers gave rise to his dynasty." Now, Lord and Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, "I'm the seed-giving father of all living entities." And so he actually says that already. So we shouldn't be too surprised when we see that he is the father of all these children and grandchildren and so forth and so on. And all of these dynasties were created in the same way. And in the universe, there are progenitors, Prajapatis, and they're in charge of the production of all the species in the universe and keep things thriving that way. And so Krishna, it says 16,000 mothers gave rise to this dynasty. 16,000 mothers. So that's pretty strong. So any questions about that chapter before we moved on? Because at this point, this chapter is pretty much finished. So when we get to the next chapter, we find out Usha. Okay, let's see here what we got. Okay, let me go back here just a minute to the top of that chapter. Usha and Aniruddha. This is a very beautiful kind of a love story, really. And it's one of those stories where two young people are just so enamored. She saw him in a dream. I mean, and Chitraleka's over there, right? We have a friend named Ragaleka. I wonder where Ragaleka is in this story, but Chitraleka's in here. And Chitraleka starts drawing pictures of the Siddhas, the Apsaras, the Gandharvas, and, you know, all these different personalities, what they look like. So she could find her lover in a depiction of a drawing. And she finally identified this personality, which I thought was pretty wild. She goes, there he is, right? So it recounts the meeting of Aniruddha and Usha, and also the battle between Aniruddha and Banasura, which we think is pretty cool. And Banasura was the oldest of the 100 sons of King Bali. So if you go back in Srimad Bhagavatam, you can find out all the story of Bali. Bali gave the universe to the Lord, gave everything, all lower, middle, and higher planetary. And when he ran out of things to give, he gave his head. Okay. And he bowed it down. He said, Lord, here, place your third step here. Okay. So the bottom line is Bali he was also in the line of Asuras, right? So his son was Banasura. So now, wasn't Bali connected to Prahlad?
Yeah.
So there you go. So the grandson of Prahlad, right? So Prahlad was born in a family of Asuras or demons, Hiranyakashipu. So this is pretty cool that the demons are hanging out in some pretty high association. Here's Krishna, he was the grandson of Krishna, right? That was
Aniruddha.
Yeah, Aniruddha was the grandson. He was not the son. He was the grandson.
Grandson.
But he was literally had all the qualities of Krishna. He was dark blue. He was beautiful. He was irresistible, unlimitedly attractive. And so she went and got him, found him, and brought him back to the inner palace, her inner palace, and they just fell into a love affair that was just unparalleled. And even though it was a little rogue, it seemed, right? And that's why some of the guards found out that she looked like she had been enjoying some conjugal behavior, and she had blossomed in that way, and they could tell. So they began to tell Banasura about this, right? So Banasura. Now the story of Banasura is pretty cool too. So let's talk about Banasura, because Banasura, we don't want to leave him out of the story. He played a musical instrument for Shiva, right, with one of his 1,000 arms, right? And you can imagine how wonderful it must have sounded with 1,000 arms. It had to be a concert we can't even imagine. So Shiva favored Banasura, and even the demigods like Indra, they would serve Banasura. They were enamored with Banasura. And so Shiva offered him whatever benediction he chose after he played this beautiful song, and asked Shiva to become the guardian of his city. So they did. And Banasura was feeling the urge to do battle because he had all this itching in his muscles. He was so powerful. He said, and he told Lord Shiva, he said, except for you, in the whole world, there's not anybody who can challenge me or fight with me. And so he thought these 1,000 arms that he had become a real heavy burden and a kind of a obstacle for him because he couldn't use them. And he's got this great gift, all these arms, he can't use them. So Shiva replied, because of your pride it'll be crushed. Your pride will be crushed in this battle, and your chariot flag will fall to the ground. So that's pretty strong prediction from Lord Shiva. I would think that that would be something you'd immediately begin worrying about. Okay. So Banasura, we'll hear more about Banasura as we go along. But so anyway, Usha, now we got the story of Usha, right? So that whole thing, we discussed some of that at this point. So she found the man of her dreams, and he came to the palace, right? It said that Chitralekha flew through the sky to Dwarka. She flew through the sky. These are powerful entities, okay? Found Aniruddha and brought him back to her. And what is it? Sonita Pura. That's Banasura's cap. Sonita Pura. Very beautiful. And presented him there to Usha. So have you ever known anybody named Usha? There's Urmilas, there's all these different names. These are all from the Vedas, and they're becoming more and more popular. You find a lot of girls named Maya now, too, don't you? And you're thinking, oh, Maya Devi, oh no. Sorry, girls. Anyway, so greatly disturbed, Banasura rushed to his daughter's apartment after he had heard about this from his guards, right? And of course, he was greatly surprised. He saw kumkum powder that had been pressed between them and all of this kind of stuff. Now, Aniruddha, he's a great hero. He grabbed his weapon, his club, and he's standing there ready to take on all comers. He's not too worried about it, actually. Okay? So they actually attacked him, which was a mistake. And he succeeded in killing a bunch of them. Before the powerful Bana could capture, he caught him with his mystic Pasa rope. And of course, Usa was filled with all types of lamentation when she saw her beloved now captured and struggling. That's where the story ends. It's called a cliffhanger, guys. You ever heard of it? You got a cliffhanger on this one. I like that. So any comments or questions? We're at 7:55. We did pretty good on this chapter.
Well, I again consulted the great Oracle ChatGPT.
Good.
And it says it's mostly why daughters are less mentioned. Basically, it says because genealogists in ancient texts often emphasize male lineage for dynastic and royal succession reasons. Daughters appear more in marriage narratives than in lineage lists. So that makes sense. So I suppose you can't list everyone. And we're talking about kings and queens and princesses and princes. So it's all lineage and royalty and the
I understand.
royal households, isn't it? So it's
I
always
understand.
males, isn't it, for that?
That's right. Yeah, but what we see in these stories, there's something here that I did want to point out too. And, it is that we got these asuras, right? And we got these devas, we got these demigods, and we got these demons. And they're always at odds, right? And they're always fighting, and everybody, a lot of them are getting killed. And we're seeing that demons may be amongst us, right? I mean, they may be in your own family, they may be in your lineage, right? Just like we know the sons of Pandu, the brother of Dhritarashtra, and his son Dronacharya. And so they were all in different camps because they had a different attitude about things. And that attitude determined what character they had, right? And so demons are known by their character, and devotees are known by their character. So the actions of a person determine who that person actually is. And so this could be easily determined that this is a demoniac person, who's out to steal the rightful kingdom from the rightful heir, the five sons of Pandu, and that they were taken and put into a house of lac to burn, and that they were cheated out of their wife and just tried to disrobe and do all these different horrible things in gambling matches with them. They were sent into exile for years and years. When they came back, they couldn't even get one village. What to speak, they couldn't get the land on the head of a pin. So at this point, there has to be some, because this is unreasonable. This is not appropriate behavior. So the earth has to be cleansed of these demons. So Krishna says, Prachanaya Sadhanam, Nashya Chaduskritam. I'm going to kill the demons. I'm going to reestablish the principles of religion, and I'm going to lift up my devotee. So this is the idea, and you see this theme played out in all these various stories. And it's a wonderful thing. And Krishna's easy to explain. Naha Prakasha Sarvasha Yogamaya Samanvritaha Mudho Yam Nabijananti Loko Mam Ajam Avyayam. What that means is that Krishna will never manifest himself to the foolish and unintelligent, and for them, he remains covered by his internal creative potency, Yogamaya. So Yogamaya was mentioned in this chapter earlier. And so what happens, or the previous chapter, and it talks about how they're covered by this Yogamaya or Mahamaya, depending. And so the deluded world, Krishna says, does not know me. They don't know me. And if you want to get to know Krishna, you got to go through the Ivam Parampara Praptam. You got to go through the Parampara. The Parampara is one thoroughly honest spiritual master to the next, handed down without change, without interpretation, and without defiling the message of the Shastra. And so that's the key. So that's why we say Shastra, Sadhu, and Guru. This is the triangle, and in that triangle situation, you can know the truth. That's the best foundation, by the way, the triangle, because it's big at the bottom. So you got a good, strong base, and it's one point at the top. So God is one, the Guru is one, but they're found in many different forms at different times and places, and they're here to show us the light, lead us back to this state of loving devotion to the Lord. So that was just something I wanted to mention to you as we were going along, because Krishna is very careful to say, he talks about parastasmat tu bhavo nyo. In other words, there's another place that's eternal, that's beyond this place, it's transcendental. And that is the spiritual world, right? It's transcendental to this manifest and unmanifested material world that we're living in. Sometimes it's manifest, sometimes it's not. Now you see it, now you don't, right? So that's voila. You right? Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu, Jvala Vigrahasha. Jvala Vigrahasha. Krishna appears in a form that is amazing. So, but he's not manifest to these foolish people. So, this place that Krishna is talking about, Yasar Sarvesha Bhuteshu Matyatsu Nan Vinashyati, this is the place which is never annihilated. It never is annihilated. It's supreme. And when all this world is annihilated, that part always remains as it is. So that's the part we're interested in getting to. And these depictions of how God is living and coming and doing his thing, this will deliver us home. Great stories of your fame, your form, your holy names. They wash us clean like the rain, like the monsoon rain. So that's the idea. And so how do we end up? And so we serve you now, and to your feet we bow. Send your mercy like the rain, like the monsoon rain. So that's what we're asking Krishna to do, and he's doing just that in these wonderful stories, Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's it for me tonight, guys. Any other questions, comments, or anything you want to add? How about you, Vamsi? You got some sweet stuff for me?
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I was just thinking about Lord Balaram. In his incarnation, the mood, it seems like he is a little naive with certain things. He's easily befooled. He's the supreme lord, but using Mahamaya, it is covering himself, and he's acting as if they can easily cheat him, because initially when he won, but they said they won, he was just giving away hundreds of thousands of coins. So they thought they can just take away everything from the Lord. But then the celestial voice came and said, "No, Balaram has won." And
Yeah, no, isn't that
yeah,
great? I mean,
yeah,
he had to have
yeah,
third party
yeah,
recognition from the sky. Okay,
right, right.
he must have
Yeah,
been surrounded by demons. That's exactly what was happening.
yeah. Um, and then another thing to note is this Rukmi, he was actually saved by Balram at the time. Rukmini was taken away by Krishna when she wanted him to kidnap her, and then Rukmi was following him, and then we read how there was a fight, and then Krishna kind of shaved away his hair, humiliating him, and and Lord Balram came and said, "Krishna, you're not doing the right thing. This is your wife's brother. How could you do this to him and humiliate him this way?" And he was chastising Krishna, and Krishna said, "No, you don't know him. He's like not a good person." And Balram was actually siding with Rukmi at that time, and Rukmi, instead of being grateful for getting his life saved, he's kind of trying to cheat the Lord, and then he gets killed by the Lord. Right? So,
Turnabout's pretty quick, isn't it? I
yeah,
mean, I mean,
yeah,
Balaram,
mhm,
when he came into the arena of what was it? Which which pastime was that when he came in and killed Roma Harsana with the blade of grace?
yeah,
He said,
yeah,
Balaram, I mean, he don't put up with a lot of nonsense.
yeah,
So
yeah,
he did not put up with a lot of nonsense with him at this point. But he
yeah,
did actually, he lectured
mm,
Rukmini about it, that
mm,
she shouldn't be so, attached in this family line. So he not only kind of chastised Krishna as his big brother,
right,
he disfigured the guy.
yeah,
In Bhagavad Gita, it says, yeah, what is it? For one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death, right? So if
mm,
dishonor is worse than death,
mm,
he disfigured his hair and chopped
mm.
his mustache up. He looked ridiculous. He took his top knot and his jewel off and all this kind of stuff, right? Very good observation. Thank you, Momsy.
Yeah, and it seems like Balram, he represents the guru, and it looks like there's a quality of the guru to say it as it is. But we know Krishna is being very diplomatic. He's not trying to offend anybody. He didn't want to offend either Rukmini or Balram. We know Krishna is acting very intelligent, but Guru is very straightforward. You are you are a donkey. You just call that. So
That's a
I thought
lesson.
that. Yeah.
That's
So
right.
I thought that was really good. Um, yeah, I had one more thing about uh, yeah, Banasura. So we recently read about Banasura. If you remember, we read that Narakasura, who Krishna killed with Satyabhama, who had taken all the women captive, as the 16,100. He was such a good person born to Mother Earth, but he was tainted by this Banasura. We had read that. And now it is slowly connecting that Banasura is like the king, and he had so many arms, and he's trying to even he's trying to ask his master, Lord Shiva, to a fight. Even though he's worshiping Lord Shiva, he's so puffed up, he wants to fight with him. So I guess he's going to meet his match soon.
Well,
Uh,
he definitely will. Shiva's already predicted his flag would fall
Yeah.
from scary. So it's coming, man. It's coming. So we're on a cliffhanger right now. It's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Guys, listen, I appreciate you so much for coming and hearing this wonderful stories of these great personalities and these histories that we find in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So repeat after me. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare Ram,
Hare Ram.
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare Ram.
Hare Ram,
Ram Ram,
Ram
Ram
Ram.
Ram.
Hari Hari.
Hari
Hari.
Hari.
Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Jaya Jaya. Hari Bo, everybody.
Haribo.
What a
Radhe
wonderful
Radhe Govinda.
guys. Thank you so much for coming. And we'll take you off the cliff. We're on a cliffhanger. We're going to go off the cliff next time. So be ready. Bring your parachute. Or no, just wait for Krishna to catch you.
Bring an umbrella.
Like he did Prahlad. He'll do it. Don't worry. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you very much. Enjoy.
Radhe Radhe.
No.
Thank you.
Hare Bo.